walk through. We're at Sloss Furnace. Let's give a quick walkthrough. We're going to show you a little bit about the places. Tammy's going to help with history and everything, and then we're going to pull out equipment and start rolling. Come along. Alright, we're fixing to go down into the tunnels. There's been a lot of reports of there was deaths down here, poorly ventilated, a lot of poisonous gases and everything. Workers can't met their fate in the tunnels. There's been reports of people being slapped, touched, scratched, shadow figures, everything else in these tunnels. Come on in, we'll show you a little bit of it. Y'all, like I said, it's very straight down.
Stop falling, don't laugh.
Be careful.
Don't get me.
Watch your step, right? These are where the car is brought in. Not sure if it's over cold or what. And it would be on these tracks here. There's your chutes. They would come down. If I go up, I actually don't really know what it is. So I should have studied up on a little bit more. But there's been a lot of reports down in here of people getting touched, scratched. It's a lot cooler down here, I tell you that. 10 degrees. Huh? 10 degrees. 10 degree cooler? Yes. Thank you. That's as far as we go there. Huh? Because right here is where it's steady. One running up, one running down at the same time. Just kind of, whatever, just cranking it back up to the board. You know, and dump it in the board. Yeah. But if you look on down here, the tunnels actually do go on past here. This is actually as far as it goes. You can see down the side that the tunnel goes on for a ways, but it's blocked off by a gate, which actually don't look like even a fence there now. But you mentioned that what we saw down there, it goes up to one of the cars that's still in there.
Yeah.
And there's like a fence in front of it.
Yep.
You never been past it. So how much further? You said it goes on past it?
It's about the same distance from shed 1 to that car flipped over, so it's about the same distance, doubled.
They got more bins just like on this other side?
Doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't really have the, it has the chutes that come down where the coke and the limestone used to come through, all the way down to the other hopper.
How did it work anyway?
They would, the cars would come along the rail up here on the elevated, and then they would dump down into a hopper that then would dump into a rail car that's the one you come to at the fence. And then that rail car would come and dump into another hopper that would come up to the top of the
Two
furnace.
carts that goes up and down?
Yep.
And that went into the furnace?
That would come up, dump into the furnace. A door would open at the top, it would dump in, and then the door would close, and then another door would open and it would fall down into the furnace.
Oh, okay. Can you show us? Okay, that side of it?
Yeah, we can.
Sounds good.
scared. Nah, I ain't scared. I just want to be safe. I'll be safe over here.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
y'all go here. Y'all tell me what y'all see.
I'm going to.
Y'all tell me what y'all see.
Down there?
Cool. It's just for Halloween prop.
Oh, okay. Freak me out just a second.
The Halloween prop down there is a human thing. Yeah, those steps are really slick. So
I see that. Let them, they got a
This is very Halloween.
arm coming out of his torso here.
Put your head.
I found the skeleton last time I was here.
Oh, it's nasty down here.
This is the spot we were talking about where it goes way down.
How deep's the water?
If you have a bright enough light, you can shine it down in there. It slants off. There's a bunch of stuff down in there now. I think there's a hoppers maybe down in there.
I don't know if I want to try it.
I guess pretty deep.
Really see how deep it is with this thing. You got a REM pod going off?
It's mine. I have heated against the wall. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be coming that way. With a camera in my hand.
And we're fixing to go back up. I'm here, and the last time I came here, the guy that was with me, there's a little room off to the right, to his left on the top of these steps. I went in there first, and when I left, he came in there. He said that his K2 spike being electromagnetic field, electromagnetic presence there, and he said it was touched up in there. That's his deal. Y'all watch your head.
He said, watch your head.
That includes the camera, man.
Man, twice.
Yes, you go there, and that's that little thing above those. Both of them come out on the other side, you go up the other side, all this side here. And then, I said last time, this was where the last guy came with me, claims that he was stuck in there. Yeah. I didn't experience anything. I got a little bit of attention gift when I was in there. That's all I got. All right. This is for number one. we were showing you earlier from the other side. What was some of the history on this? This is boiler room.
Okay. This is where they would send them in to get the slag, which means waste, out of it. It's the part of the material that would dry and they would just do away with it. It was worthless. And so once they would get down and they're chipping, a lot of them lacked education on the gas fumes, etc. There were deaths here where they fell. The chipping off the walls would knock it down and cause a burst or an explosion. And usually it was two men at a time cleaning, one on one side, one on the other. And of course they would fall into the liquid and be incinerated. Numerous accounts of that.
See the size. It's just massive. Big, ain't it?
Very tall.
Unfortunately, we can't get up there, but we will have a camera set up in it, and we will have one down in the tunnels. Next to be the wheelhouse. There. We'll have. Remember, I told you that we need to shoot the camera back this way. This is where they caught a figure, a shadow, go from. Your wheel number one is all the way up here. This is the infamous wheel, the number one wheel, wheel one. It's reported that there's no name on the wheel. But it leaned up against it back in the day. There was no chain, no fence here or anything to keep the workers safe. He was leaning up against the wheel, eating the sandwich, and either the draft, the other workers reported that they looked 1 minute, looked back, and he was gone. The wheel snapped his clothes, drug him in, and you couldn't just instantly stop these. And they said every time that wheel would come around, less and less of the man was there. And this is where one of the biggest, hottest paranormal spots there is here as well. And we should have a camera set up in here if we figure out how to get back in here from out there. This is where also they see lights have been seen down at this other end of the tunnel of the track, and where people have reported things rushing up on them. And we'll have another camera sitting here, shooting down this way. I'm here with Darius. He's one of the light watchmen here. How long have you been working here?
For about 3 weeks, huh?
3 weeks, and already you've had a few experiences here, haven't you?
Yeah, went over there in the wheel room and got right up there on the top of there, man.
What'd you say on top?
Just I saw a little figure moving around up there. I figured it was either a cat or something up there, man. Right up there at the top row, you see something moving every now and then.
An acrobatic cat if you go by.
I know, right?
But that's only 3 weeks. You haven't heard any other stories, others that work here?
I had a friend of mine a while back. I had put on Facebook that I was working out here, and he said that normally at middle in nighttime and at midnight, you got little creepy stuff happening in the boiler room here. The other thing I
Got the
heard.
furnace there? Or?
Yes, sir. Right here in this little furnace. And another biggest rumor that I keep hearing on the other side, on the back, where the little blue train is, they say there's a little white ghost that's supposed to come out and play with you for like 4 minutes at a time. He plays hide and seek, peekaboo.
That's on the car track?
Yes, sir. And
we got a camera sitting up on there.
not this car track, the other side, on the roadway over there.
Oh, cross.
Where the little caboose at over there.
Oh, okay.
They say it's supposed to be a white ghost over there, but I haven't seen it. They say if you walk up to it, it disappears and appears somewhere else over here in the factory area.
You ever get the feeling when you walk in that something may be watching you? Or
I have felt it a couple of times that I have been uneasy. I'm not gonna lie, I have, especially the first time I drove my car through the track. I stopped about halfway down and felt like I had been watched the whole time while coming down. But for the most part, I mean, just the normal little creepy stuff out here.
Well, I appreciate you coming talking to us, man.
It was no problem at all,
Thanks
man.
for taking care of us here tonight. Keep
No
everybody
problem.
else close.
No problem, man. Y'all, like I said, I'm still doing my rounds. Y'all about to see me drive around in the city. So, as a matter of fact, I was gonna actually drive my car back through the tunnels. I have to be around through there, so.
We got. If it's on those tracks on the inside, we got a camera sitting right in the middle of it.
Okay. Well, I'll walk the tunnels then. I just have to walk them today.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good, man. I need that sign. All I do is just drive anywhere and sit down and look at this all day.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem. Y'all have a good one.
Okay, well, by the concrete vats, those concrete vats used to have 20-foot tall wooden towers on top of them that were cooling baffles, is what they called them. And you had to go out there and repaint those periodically because they would stop and let them dry out and repaint. Well, there were two guys painting there, and they got their paint brushes or poles caught up in the electrical lines, and it electrocuted both of them. Also, when they electrified the steam shovel out there, the wires ran from the electric engine right to the electric box there. And they had a bad rain, and there was a guy that stepped into a puddle out there and was electrocuted right there. You had two men who were burned up in the original furnace that was here on the site. You had a limestone furnace, and what happened was you would have scaffolding or furnace clinkers where you had pieces of coke stick to the side of the furnace, and their solution was to lower people down on a platform to knock it off. And those two guys fell into that furnace and were burned up. You had 4 men who were killed in a cash shed collapse up there. That the metal cash shed collapsed around the furnace, and the furnace foreman was trapped on the iron flow and burned in half, right there. You had 2 men who were scalded to death by steam in the blowing engine room. You had another man who was snatched into the wheel of the big steam engine there and just torn all to pieces there. And so, there you go, guys. That'll get you started right there. Hey, come on in, come on in.
Thanks.
Richard Jowers, who Catherine Wyndham renamed Theophilus Jowers. You know, that was not his name, Richard Jowers.
Okay.
Catherine told me the story. But he fell into the Alice Works, which was in North Birmingham. But he had told people that he would be wherever they were pouring iron in the city. And so this was the last place where they poured iron, and so the workers migrated him out here. And they also found some burned up people, human remains, by the slag pits here. Because you also had a lot of homeless people that would camp out next to the slag pits to keep warm, and that is a very dangerous place to be. And I guess it still continues. I came out here one day and there was a dead guy laying on the sidewalk out there. He had fallen off the viaduct, and that had killed him to take that fall. And we had another man who was catching the train and riding through here and fell under it and lost a leg, an arm over here. Yeah, so it's a dangerous place still, you know. So
And Sloss Quarters was over here.
they were as far as the eye could see over there. They were those little shotgun houses, and they color-coded the neighborhoods for the water bill, and that always got me, that you'd have a little block of them that were green and yellow and white. And when I was a kid, we would drive across the viaduct, and one day my dad was driving with us, and they were all painting those houses out there. And my dad said, that's not going to last very long. And you could watch those houses go from white to gray to black, being covered with carbon, and then they come out and repaint. I don't know how many times they painted them, but I think that was what was holding them up, was all the layers of paint on them. You know, out
And
there.
what about the cemetery? I read where there was a cemetery here that the workers were buried at.
No, I've never heard that. We have one grave, and it's the dog right out here, Spot,
Okay.
which ought to give everybody a lot of hope, you know.
Well,
that-
we visited last night. We took pictures.
Well, you know, think about this when you're looking around, you know, that epitaph says Spot was everybody's friend. Well, I've talked to a lot of workers out here, they said Spot was nobody's friend.
He was mean.
He was a mean little dog, and I talked to one guy, said you couldn't try to pet Spot without him trying to bite you. And so, but now that he's there, he's everybody's friend.
Yeah.
But he wore a little engineer hat, and the engineer took care of it. He rode with the engineer on one of the trains right here, and was killed in an accident. Train went over.
Oh.
And so, and now he's everybody's friend.
Wow. And what about there was a Baptist church in 64. It's not related here, but you guys might be able to tell me. It was bombed.
Yeah, that's the, what street is it? The
64th Street or something like that.
16th Street Baptist Church.
I think it's gonna be on this one.
It's a museum right across, the Civil Rights Museum is right across from it.
There's Civil Rights, 16th Street Baptist Church. Here it is.
Yeah.
There's Civil Rights.
You just take one of those.
Yeah, just take that, and that way you'll know right where it is.
This, the Civil Rights Museum is right next to the church right there.
Okay. All right. Well, we in Sloss Quarters they weren't paid in currency, right?
Well, they were paid, but they were partially paid in what is called clapper. And that's company money. And that's very typical, that you would get part of what you earned in company money, and then the only place you could spend that money was in the commissary down here. And that was a danger. If you had good people running a place, it could be a good place to buy. But you also could become indebted, the old song, you know, owe my soul to the company's door, and you couldn't get out of it. And that was a problem with all of these industrial sites with sharecropping. It depended on who was running the show, and people got a fair treatment out of it.
The clapper decrease in value. So what would have made that decrease?
Well, I'm not sure about that, other than it is always undervalued compared to real money and real currency. A lot of workers sold clapper to other workers, you know, to spend it. We found a few pieces of it around here, but that's very typical, you know, to pay in company money. And there are a lot of places where it has, of course, it became illegal to do that you had to pay people in real currency or
What
not
about
some company money.
the young man that was found in the, vat?
Yeah,
Women's shoes?
I have heard the story of a murder out here where they put a body in that. I've never heard the real detail on it, but a few people have heard the story. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good time with it.
Very interesting.
Congratulated to part of your visit here to Birmingham.
Very interesting.
And enjoy that light reading that you've gotten for
I
yourself.
can't wait. I can't wait.